Hello, something guys and gals, this is Lance here. I know I always say at the beginning, and despite that my username is just my name, I have another channel called just something guy 912 if you want to check it out. I don't even know if I should even bother to put a link because this is not really important to anybody, or it might be if you're politically active. So I'm just going to share with you a experience, kind of an experience I had just on a normal day. I was on a Thursday last week. I was going to work like I thought I was, and I realized, or not realized, but found out that I wasn't working today, so I was particularly surprised. I was like, well, I'm all in this work outfit, but it's like 2 miles away from where I live, so it wasn't that much concerning to me. I just got my soda and my check, and I went out. So as I was driving, I saw these signs, and it said impeach Obama. Now it's kind of like one of these extremist sort of viewpoints. Not to say that there's a lot of legitimate reasons to impeach Obama, but the thing that really got to me wasn't exactly that. It was the picture of Obama. It was the normal portrait, the casual portrait of him, but instead of just him, he had the little Hitler stash. Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that that's the problem I had was, well, as I was driving, I was like, what the hell? It's like, so you want to impeach Obama because you think he's Hitler, or the acts he's caused are equivalent to that of Hitler, which is not even true. It's not even, even if you can compare it indirectly, that doesn't make it a direct comparison. So as I was depositing my check, I went over. I didn't want to like say that he's a son of a bitch for doing this. I just asked him, was this really in good taste? And he had all this it's kind of like a newspaper counter thing going on there, and he had all of these info, a bunch of pictures and visual graphics about supposedly the problems with our government, although it seemed kind of complex, so I didn't really seem to understand. But the thing I did understand was that impeaching Obama, because putting an image of him that has the little, the Hitler stash that almost anyone can recognize as Hitler stash, and put it as that a good reason, that is just ridiculous. So I asked him, do you see? Do you think this is kind of in bad taste? I mean, there's a lot of good reasons why Obama should be impeached, but the idea that putting the Hitler stash on him because of that as one of those legitimate reasons is just silly. That you're just living in this kind of false fantasy that somehow what he has done is equivalent, and he's like, no, it isn't. And he's kind of being like a stonewall to me. He's kind of being extremely stubborn. He's not answering my questions, or at least answering them in a more coherent way. And so I pretty much asked him, so what does make Obama? Has he killed 3 million Jews in Europe? Sure. He's under military intervention. He has killed a lot. I don't know the actual estimate. A lot of Arab citizens for the plight of trying to, in doing so, killing the Taliban and whoever was involved with 9/11 specifically. That is, whether or not that's more or less evil, we can argue morals all day. It's not the same as killing Jews, and even the military intervention could otherwise be justified for the killing, but to some, but the problem is that he didn't kill these Arabs in his own fucking country. Hitler killed people in his own country. And it wasn't just Jews. It was gypsies, gay people, I think black people, and the mentally handicapped as well. He wasn't. It was just his broadening idea was to kill the Jews. That was his main goal. It was just he had other targets as well, but he did it within his own country and within Europe. And he was a fascist as well. He wanted world domination, and as far as I could tell, Obama doesn't really want to dominate the world. He doesn't have this idea, and no matter how much they try to pin him as a secret Muslim or try to make it seem like his birth certificate is inaccurate or not legitimate, so he wouldn't be a president. Either way, there's still a lot of legitimate reasons, but the idea of using the actions he's made synonymously with Hitler is just silly enough. So I'm trying to ask him, did he do that? And he doesn't even give me an answer. He says 9. Now, the first time he said that, I thought he was saying the German 9, which means no. So he was just telling me no, which is not even the correct answer to my question. I didn't ask him, do you, or whatnot. But then when I kept asking him more questions, he kept saying 9, and then I realized he was actually not saying the German 9, he was saying numbers. I don't know why the fuck he was just saying numbers, so I said another number, and he said another number, and I said another number. I was just flowing in, because whatever. And then off came this other guy, walked in, who's, what can you say, kind of like those inner patriots, like this guy who just thinks that America is the only country that can do good and all the other countries can just go fuck themselves. He's all kind of nationalistic. He doesn't really care. And the guy on the counter was like telling him that's not really a good idea, and honestly I agreed with him. That wasn't a really good idea of looking over and looking in that light. Just saying that, America's the only place that we should just give a shit about, because the way that we only care about ourselves is just selfish already. But the idea of having this nationalistic thing is just reprehensible towards other countries when we start, and soon enough, when we start doing this, we're going to start building walls around our country and trying to block the rest of the world off from us because we don't give a shit about them, and we start to get this idea that America is the only place for good and whatnot. But America has its flaws too, and there's a lot of them. It's just the problem with America is that many of the people don't want to see it. They don't want to see these problems. They don't want to admit that they have these problems. Many other countries probably admit that they have the flaws, and they either work with them or do them anyway. We, on the other hand, we have flaws that we don't want to see. We just turn the other way when it comes to these flaws. We like to say that we're perfectly perfect. And our egocentric nature with religion, God bless America, is also extremely damaging to social progress and global progress with peace exchange and whatnot. So on that level, him and I could agree. And I was glad that there was something that I could agree with, but the whole argument that I had before just didn't seem to go on some productive level. I wasn't trying to make it seem like, that his idea of impeaching Obama was bad. It's just trying to visually represent him as Hitler is just inaccurate. It's not accurate. You can't just throw that in and expect people to believe that, we should impeach Obama because he's Hitler. Which isn't true. Which isn't true on any level, no matter how much you try to, connect the dots in any sort of manner. It's just not true. It's not fucking true. It's the same thing when they say that Obama's a communist and he's a secret Muslim. It's just fucking bullshit. And the worst thing about doing this is that when they throw out these lines, there's a lot of dim-witted people who believe it. They don't. Well, I guess you could say they're that dim-witted enough to believe it. And when they believe it, they have this more, egocentrical view. They don't like anything that Obama does. And same thing, in my previous videos, I said that, Obama has a more conservative viewpoint, yet conservatives hate him just merely on the fact that he's in the Democratic Party, just convenience, in the Democratic Party, so they have every reason to hate him, despite that they look at the name tag and they see Democrat, but they don't see what he does. He doesn't do things that the Democrat Party would do. He does more conservative things, and that's the issue that I have here. Is that when they put this visual representation of him as Hitler, they make people less intuitive towards why the real reasons why Obama should be impeached for whatever he has done. They just want to make it seem like he's much more evil because Hitler is a pretty noticeable name. I mean, his stash is very recognizable. It's easy to recognize when somebody has that kind of stash because he's a very recognizable person by what he's done and somewhat what he looks like too. Going on, that redneck patriot, gun-toting motherfucker left, and well, I guess we were on a little bit more friendly terms, and he asked me if I'd buy $20 for a brochure, but I told him that, well, I'm not really in. I honestly was not in a position to pay money for something that I do not know that well about, or donate to a cause to impeach Obama before I actually have more information. I was willing to recognize that I was not adept to the situation at hand, and that I could not withhold the responsibility to hold a position that I did not know about, such as with gun control. I do not understand exactly what is wrong or right about it. Otherwise, I cannot hold a opinion. I cannot tell other people to have a different opinion, nor can I say that I have a strong opinion about it. So that's the idea. If I have a good reason for Obama being impeached, it's not because he's Hitler. It's not. It's just not. It's either because he's lied about the actions he's made, he has done things that would otherwise be illegal, and making laws that would otherwise just justify the actions they've made, such as shutting down Mega Upload, despite that SOPA was not passed. Actually, it was in the process of not being passed when they shut it down, so they had the power to do it. They just didn't want to. They just had this law to justify them doing it. But since they knew it was not going to work well with them, they just did it anyway. So those are some good reasons. But Hitler, seriously, we got to get over this fantasy world. If my stepmom doesn't want me to write poetry, I'm not going to say she's fucking a communist. I'm going to say she's kind of dim-witted in that she's trying to subject my freedoms of what I want to do. But if she doesn't like something I'm going to like something that I like doing, I'm not going to call her some word that would otherwise make her seem a lot worse than she actually is. So that's all I just have to say. So thank you.